This is the image trace assignment. For this assignment, you'll want to have a photograph that you've already picked out that you want to place into Illustrator and do a trace of. So I'm going to go get that image. I'm in Illustrator right now. I've got a letter size document on my page. It doesn't really matter what size of page you go with, but I just went with letter size. So go to File and then Place and find your image. Mine is this French Bulldog puppy. Click Place, and now I can click and drag to place this at any size I want on my page. So I'm going to place it fairly large right here. So there's my picture. I can see that it's selected because I can see this crossbar and I can see these anchor points on the corners. And I just want to leave that selected because I'm going to need to have it selected in order to do what I need to do next. Now the quick way to do image trace is to go to Object and then go right down to Image Trace and Make. But you'll see that if I do that, I get a result that I'm not really super fond of. I need to change the settings within Image Trace. So instead of doing it that way, instead of doing the quick key command or object command, I'm going to click Command Z to undo what I did. And then I'm going to open the little window for Image Trace. So if I click on Window, I can find the panel for Image Trace right here, and I'm going to click on that. So now I've got a panel that's got some options on it. I get more control over what I'm doing. So looking at this panel, I can see that right now the mode is black and white, which is why I got that black and white trace before. It's set to a very high threshold, which means it's looking at the difference between the colors of the pixels, and it's making boundaries in that way. So if I want a more colorful or more realistic image trace of this, I'm going to change the preset. There are a bunch of presets, and then you can change the things manually as well. But I'm just going to go to 16 colors and let you see what that's going to look like. So I've chosen 16 colors. This is pretty processor intensive, so you'll see a couple of timer bars go across while it does this thing. So what it's done here is it's analyzed the pixels in this image and it's thrown those into 16 buckets or 16 different colors. So it's a vector image, it's vectorizing the image, and you might think that when you vectorize something you get a nice outline of it or a cartoon of it. That's not really the case, as you'll see. Right now we've got 16 colors. I can still change it. It's not yet committed. It's not yet expanded into shapes that I can mess with. I could go back and decide, well, I think I need a few more than 16 colors to make this really look realistic. I'm going to try 24 colors, and it will redo the calculations, and it will divide it into 24 colors. And so I've got a few more colors within the palette there. You can see some of the interesting information it's showing you here. It's showing you how many paths there are, how many colors you have, and how many anchor points. This vectorized version of this puppy has 27,000 anchor points, which is a lot. So I'm going to change it one more time just to show you what it does. I'm going to go down to 8 colors, and we'll see what the results are there. It's going to be fewer areas of color. So now I've got 2,100 paths and I've got 19,000 anchors. This is pretty detailed. A lot of my little anchor points are going to be up in this fabric area. You'll see when I expand this what that means to have those their own areas. Okay, so when you've gotten a result that you're going to go with, you need to expand it in order to actually manipulate these vectors. So if you're in the Essentials workspace, which is what you should be in here, you will see the Properties panel over on the right, and when you're done image tracing, you click this button, Expand. Expand will convert your tracing objects to paths, so it'll permanently convert this from a photograph into vector paths. So I'm going to click Expand, and now my paths are highlighted. You can see where their boundaries are, and if I click on my workspace, I deselect it, click on the image, and it all selects. It all selects because right now it's grouped. Whenever you do an image trace, by default, your result will be grouped until you ungroup it or until you use direct select. So I'm actually going to use direct select to select individual bits of this. I'm going to use the white arrow, direct select, and I'm going to change some colors. So now you can see that when I'm using direct select, it's selecting actual regions that are filled in with that color. So if I choose this region and I click over here on the fill color and quickly grab a swatch, I can change the color of that particular piece of the picture. I'm going to change this color. Change other colors. So what I want you to do for this assignment is just practice getting a thing scanned and vectorized, and then change some of the colors around in it. So whatever your image is, I want to see some areas that you've actually changed to a different color so that I can see that you've divided it into vector shapes that you can then manipulate and change. And notice how none of these shapes really looks anything like a puppy. I could take this shape and move it over here, and it's a very strange abstract shape. So it's not really it's not really as useful as you might think it would be to do this and try and do a drawing from it, which is why doing it manually, the way we did it with the fruit, is sometimes a better way to get a nice illustrated result. So I'm going to hit Command Z on all those. That was just to show you where the things go, or where they could go. What I want for your assignment for you to turn in is to just take a screenshot of your picture after you've changed some of the regions of color to different colors. And your picture is your choice. It does not have to be a puppy. It could be a flower, any complex, colorful image that you do an image trace on and then change some of the color areas. So to recap, what you want to do is you bring in your image, you go to Window and get that image trace panel for yourself so that you can have more control over it. Choose a preset, play around with the number of colors, and then when you're done image tracing it, you do need to click that expand button in order for you to be able to click on the individual color areas. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to take a screenshot and then I'm going to be done. So Command Shift 4 is my screenshot. Take a screenshot of my picture, and that's what I want to turn in to the assignment folder.